What if the United States decides not just to bomb Iran, but to take control of the most important island in the Iranian economy? An island that controls almost all of Iran's oil exports. And what if the plan requires only around 2,500 American troops? This is not a fantasy scenario. Recent US strikes already targeted military positions on Kharg Island, destroying dozens of Iranian military sites while leaving the oil infrastructure untouched for now. But military analysts say something much bigger could be possible. Instead of destroying the island, the United States could try to capture it. Why? Because controlling this one small island could give Washington enormous leverage over Iran's economy and the global oil market. Tonight, we explore a possible scenario. Could the United States invade Kharg Island with just 2,500 troops? And what would happen if they did? To understand the plan, we first need to understand why this tiny island matters so much. This is Denzel speaking, and welcome to the world of Intrigue. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you're seeking the truth. At first glance, Kharg Island does not look important. It's a small island in the Persian Gulf, only about 20 square kilometers, with a population of just a few thousand people. But this island is actually the heart of Iran's oil industry. Almost 90% of Iran's oil exports leave the country through this single island. Pipelines from Iran's biggest oil fields bring crude oil directly to this island. There, the oil is stored in massive tanks and loaded into giant tankers that ship it around the whole world. This is possible because Kharg has something most of Iran's coastline does not have, which is the deep water. Much of Iran's coast is too shallow for large supertankers, but at Kharg Island, huge ships can dock easily and load millions of barrels of oil. At full capacity, the island can load several supertankers at the same time, and it can store around 30 million barrels of oil. In simple terms, without Kharg Island, Iran could still produce oil, but it would struggle to export it to the whole world. This is why experts say the island is one of the most vulnerable points in Iran's entire economy, and the United States knows this very well. Recently, American forces launched major strikes against military facilities on this island, destroying radar system, missile storage, and naval infrastructure. But appealingly, the oil facilities were not destroyed. Many analysts believe this may have been intentional because destroying the oil terminal would remove Iran's revenue, but capturing the island could give the United States something far more powerful: control. Control over Iran's oil exports, control over a major piece of the global energy market, and control over one of the most important strategic points in the Persian Gulf. Which brings us to the next question. If Washington really wanted to capture this island, how would the operation actually work? And could it really be done with only 2,500 soldiers? This is exactly what we will explore next. So how could the United States actually capture Kharg Island? The answer is speed. Military analysts say that if such an operation ever happens, it would likely be very fast and very precise. Kharg Island sits about 25 kilometers off the Iranian coast in the Persian Gulf. Because of that short distance, Iran could send reinforcement quickly if it had time. So any American operation would likely follow a simple principle: strike fast, control the island before Iran can react. The first phase would almost certainly start from the air, which is something is happening right now. American aircraft and drones would target Iranian defenses on the island. Radar systems, missiles batteries, naval positions. The goal would be simple: blind the island. Once the air defenses are gone, the second phase begins. This is where the 2,500 troops come in. Instead of massive invasion force, the United States could deploy a small but highly trained amphibious force. This could include U.S. Marine launched from amphibious assault ships in the Persian Gulf. Helicopters would likely land troops directly onto the island, while other units approach from the sea using landing craft. Within hours, American forces could attempt to secure three critical points. First, the oil export terminals. Second, the airstrip on the island. Third, the port facilities. If those 3 points are secured quickly, the entire island could effectively fall under control. And once the airstrip is secured, additional troops and equipment could be flown in. But here's the key question: even if the United States could take the island, could it hold it? Because the moment American troops land there, Iran would have to decide how to respond, and that response could change everything. For Iran, losing Kharg Island would be a major strategic shock, not just economically, but politically. Remember, most of Iran's oil exports pass through this island. If a foreign military suddenly controls it, Iran would lose one of its most important sources of revenue. So Tehran would almost certainly respond. But how? One option would be missile strikes. Iran has hundreds of ballistic and cruise missiles capable of reaching the island from the mainland. Missile bases along the Iranian coast could launch waves of attacks targeting American forces on Kharg. Another option would be naval attacks. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy operates dozens of fast attack boats in the Persian Gulf. These small boats are designed for swarm attacks against larger ships. They could attempt to target US naval vessels supporting the operation, but Iran might also escalate it in a different way. And instead of focusing only on Kharg Island, Tehran could try to disrupt the entire Persian Gulf region, and that leads to the most dangerous possibility. If Kharg Island becomes a battlefield, the effects would not stay in Iran. They would spread across the whole world because the Persian Gulf is one of the most important energy corridors on Earth. If Iran decides to retaliate by threatening shipping routes or targeting oil infrastructure across the region, global oil markets could panic. Oil prices could spike within hours, more and more, and major powers around the whole world would suddenly face a difficult choice: support the United States, support Iran, or maybe try to stop the conflict before it spreads. This is why many analysts believe that while capturing Kharg Island might be militarily possible, the political consequences could be enormous, and that's why this scenario remains one of the most dangerous possibilities in the current tensions between Washington and Tehran. So, could the United States really capture Kharg Island with just 2,500 troops? From a purely military perspective, it might be possible, but war is never just about taking territory. It's about what happens next, because the moment the first American helicopter lands on the island, the entire Middle East could enter a completely new phase of the conflict. And the question would no longer be about one small island in the Persian Gulf. It would be about how far this war could spread.